I've been with Jesus, and I'm so happy. I can feel Him in my soul. With love He sought me, with His blood He bought me. I've been with Jesus, and I'm whole. Good morning. It's time for Granny Shares the Bible. I'm going to go back on chapter 2 in Genesis, and it says, verse 15, and the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. We already read that part, but we got down here to Adam naming the animals, but there was no helpmeet for him. Verse 21, and the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from the man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. We're made out of a rib. Do you like being a woman? Those of you who are. I do. I think it's a privilege to be a woman. And I think it's a very big responsibility to be a man that a woman doesn't have. Though some women have to take care of themselves by themselves. Like me. But there's something wonderful about the Lord making us out of the rib of a man. It's very, well, let's look at it in 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter. I think that's a good place to look. 1 Corinthians, 11th chapter. It talks about the difference between men and women. It talks about the difference between a man and his way of showing honor to God, and a woman and her way of showing honor to God and to man. It says, be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ. Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you. So Paul gave them rules or ordinances. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God. So this is one of the ordinances or the rules that Paul had given. Now he's explaining it. He's explaining these rules. The head of every man is Christ, the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God. Every man praying or prophesying having his head covered dishonoreth his head. But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head, for that is even all one as if she were shaven. For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn, and if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, forasmuch as he is the image and glory of God, but the woman is the glory of the man. This is where I was wanting to get. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. A woman was made out of Adam's rib. So the woman was of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. So yes, we were created as a helpmeet for the man. A woman was. For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angels. So there is power on our heads when we are obedient to the ordinances that Paul gave. To this ordinance that Paul gave. And the angels are watching for that power, looking for that power. Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in the Lord. For as the woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman, but all things of God. So there's not a man besides Adam in this world that did not come by a woman. Right through her. He was born of that woman. And there is not a woman, nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither without the woman without the man in the Lord. For as the woman is of the man, so is the man also by the woman. So we came by the man. We came of the man. We all were made of his rib, of Adam's rib. We were all made from that. And there is not a woman on this earth that didn't come from a man. Neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in the Lord. For as the woman is of the man, I'm of my daddy. I love that. I'm of my daddy. I'm part of him. If you saw him, especially if you saw him and saw Bill, you'd say, yes, that's that man's grandson, great-grandson, because he sure looks like him. And I look like my daddy too. And I am of the man. The woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman. Not one man ever got to this earth without coming through that woman. Judge in yourselves, is it comely that a woman pray unto God uncovered? Doth not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is shame unto him? But if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given her for a covering. But if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom, neither the churches of God. So Paul was teaching his ordinances, teaching what he taught his women and his men, that a man ought to have his hair shorn, shaved, and cut off, and a woman ought to let her hair grow. And she doesn't need to cut it or shave it. She needs to be covered, and that is with her hair. But in the midst of this teaching these ordinances, he made sure that we knew that this wonderful thing that God did, making us out of the rib of Adam, making that woman out of the rib of Adam, and starting there being both man and woman, that we were all intertwined with each other, that I had a daddy and I'm like him, and I had a mama and I came by her. So, and all the men that's ever been in this world came by a woman, but we came also of the man. It's wonderful, isn't it? So God did that, and we were all each other's. And the Lord caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. I like where it says closed up the flesh instead thereof. That God, he could have just created a woman, couldn't he? But he wanted us all to be of each other. Of each other. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. Now it doesn't say of the rib, it says and the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, made he a woman. He made the rib into a woman and brought her unto the man. She was made completely of him, of that rib. And Adam said, because God must have shared exactly how it happened with Adam, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. That's what we're called. We're called women. Men is plural of man, so we're called women. It's what I am. I'm a woman. And I was taken out of, at the beginning, all that woman was taken out of the man. And then from then on, God made it work where there were It was a 50-50 chance for you to be a woman or a man. But I've always been a woman, and I've always been glad. I like being a woman. And thank God for it. You know, I've heard of people changing their gender and growing out of it and realizing they made a big mistake. This is the one thing I know about this gender situation. Not any woman can know what it's like to be a man. She can say, oh, I feel like a man. She don't know. She can't feel like a man because she's a woman. She doesn't know what it feels like to be a man. A man can't say, I'm going to be a woman. He doesn't know what it feels like to be a woman. He's still coming from a man's point of view. And that's why you get sorry about doing things to change yourself. Because you realize, there's no way I could have been a man. Because I don't know what a man is like. And a man changed into a woman. There's no way I could have been a woman because I don't know what it's like to be a woman. That's kind of a simplistic way of explaining it. But to me, it makes sense that once you're born a woman, you can't have any idea what it's like to be a man. And once you're born a man, you might change your voice, you might do all kinds of things to your body, but down inside, you don't know. You don't know what it's like to be a woman. So that's my advice. If any of you out there are deciding to change your gender, I want you to understand that you're thinking from the point of view of who you are. And you cannot understand that other point of view no matter how much you think you do. You don't. Thank God that there is such a thing as a man and there is such a thing as a woman. And then it says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. So, from the beginning, God wanted a man to have a woman. He said it's not good for him to be alone. It says it's not good that the man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet for him. And all of us feel that in our hearts and our minds when we're growing up. We feel like, I wish I could find my soulmate. I wish I could find the one that I would like to live with the rest of my life. We feel it. Some maybe don't, but I did. And God sent me Michael. And I lived with him most of the rest of my life. I'm still on this end of it, and I'm not with him. It's been 4 years, I'm heading toward 5 years that I haven't been with him now. But I'm alone. And I think that I could still enjoy having a companion. And just like this, it says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. That is a beautiful will of God, a beautiful thing that God felt about us. He didn't want us to be alone. And so when you pray, if you're alone and you want a companion, pray. Ask the Lord, if you've got somebody for me to help, not be alone. You women, you could ask that. Or if you've got somebody to keep me from being alone, if you're a man, ask that. Ask. Because we know it's God's will. We know it's God's will, that it's important. If it was that important for God to start it all off like this, not wanting him to have to be alone, Adam to have to be alone, then it's important now for you. So pray about it, right? And it says, and they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. No sin had entered into their lives, and they were as innocent as the animals. Though they had a soul, The animals were different, in a different category of beings. They were not any more ashamed of themselves than the two monkeys that were running around, or the two giraffes, or camels, or elephants. They didn't feel naked. They felt normal. So it's wonderful, isn't it, to think back on that time and realize that God, He created something wonderful when He created us. And it was created in love. God loved us. Okay, I'm going to go, and I will start chapter 3 tomorrow. This was kind of an unusual Granny Shares, but I hope it's been a blessing. God bless you.